and welcome to Chair Yoga. My name is Martha Morello and I am a certified personal trainer and group fitness instructor. One of the types of classes that I teach is Silver Sneakers, and this Chair Yoga practice is going to be based around those Silver Sneakers yoga principles. You'll notice that I'm wearing socks and shoes. Silver Sneakers yoga is done with shoes on, and we do not get down onto the floor. You are more than welcome, if you so choose, to take socks and shoes off and complete this practice in bare feet. I would just recommend either keep your shoes on or take your socks and shoes off. Don't go halfway in between and just keep your socks on, because when we come into our standing postures, you will want to be able to have some purchase on the ground, either with the bottoms of your bare feet or with the soles of your shoes. The only other things you'll need for this yoga practice is a chair with a back and something to drink, a bottle of water, just something to be able to sip on as you need to throughout the practice to stay hydrated. We're going to begin, so whenever you have everything gathered, we'll settle in to a nice, tall, seated posture. You're going to want to sit towards the front of the chair, so that means there's a significant space between your back and the back of the chair. At this point in the practice, we want to be supporting our posture with the musculature of the torso rather than leaning back passively into the chair. There will come a time for passivity and relaxation at the very end. For now, stack the feet underneath the knees, point the toes to face forward. You should have just approximately a 90-degree angle at the knees, so your feet aren't tucked underneath you or stretched out in front of you. Feel that chair beneath your sits bones, the base of your pelvis, and allow your body to settle in. Relax shoulders, elbows, and wrists. You're welcome to rest your hands on the tops of your thighs or bring the hands down by your sides, whatever feels comfortable and natural to you. Sitting up tall here, notice the length in the sides of the body, from the hips up to the shoulders, from the pubic bone up to the collarbones. Find a deep breath here. In and out, letting the breath initiate from the navel all the way down at the base of the lungs, and letting the lungs empty from top to bottom so that we are using as close to 100% of the lungs capacity as possible. Inhaling from bottom to top and exhaling from top to bottom. This might feel like a bigger, deeper, and certainly more intentional breath than your natural, everyday walking around breath. Take a few more of those deep breaths, softening the muscles of the face, unfurrowing the eyebrows and unclenching the jaw. Letting that breath really take center of your focus, really ground you down to where it's really all that you can hear and sense. Just the in and out of the air as it flows, the fill and empty of the lungs. Wonderful job. When you're ready, take all the time you need. We'll begin to warm up the neck and shoulders. Drop the left ear in the direction of the left shoulder. Let the head be heavy here. Let the right shoulder relax away from the right ear, feeling that length, that nice stretch on the right side of the neck. Take a couple deep breaths here. When you're ready, bring the head back through center and go in the opposite direction. Take all the time you need here to transition. Right ear falls in the direction of the right shoulder now. Again, the head is heavy, passive. The left side of the neck is lengthening and softening. We're still sitting up tall here with length in the sides of the body and integrity in the core, the torso. So we're not slouching or leaning back. Take your time. Bring the head back through center. Go ahead and drop the chin down in the direction of the chest, straight down. And breathe deeply here as the back of the neck softens and those muscles relax. And go ahead and lift the chin back parallel to the floor. Crown of the head reaches towards the ceiling here. So the neck, the cervical spine is in its neutral position here, maybe feeling a little longer and looser than it was a moment ago. Next time you breathe in, draw the shoulders towards the ears, and then as you exhale, relax the shoulders down and back. Continue that motion, connecting with your breath. Inhale, bring the shoulders up, and exhale, release the shoulders down. Inhale and exhale. Great, maybe 2 more times here. One more. Good, we'll find a little gentle rotation here of the cervical spine. So with the neck, we're gonna turn the gaze and look over your left shoulder. There'll be a natural stopping point. Try not to force past that point. So when your neck muscles say, oh, stop right there, just hold, breathe, relax. The range of motion here in cervical spine rotation is gonna vary from individual to individual. Bring your head back through center again, still moving slowly and carefully and looking over the right shoulder now in the opposite direction. Crown of the head here still reaching towards the ceiling. So we're maintaining that tall, upright posture and just turning the top portion of the spine, the cervical spine, just looking over to the right. As if someone called your name and you're trying to see, who was that? Go ahead and bring the head back through center. Great job. Now we're gonna take right arm up overhead, reach those right fingertips towards the ceiling. You can release your left hand down by your side, or you're welcome to keep it in your lap if that's more comfortable. Go ahead and reach over with those right fingertips, finding a lengthening in the side of the body. Be careful not to reach so far that you lose your purchase, your groundedness in that right foot and hip. So your foot is still solidly planted on the floor, and your right sits bone is still solidly planted in your chair. Come on back up and switch sides. So right hand can come down by your side or in your lap. Left arm reaches up and over. Big stretch along the side of the body. Think about creating space in the ribs and the torso, all the way up here to the shoulder. One more big breath here. And come on back up, relax that left hand down. Now remember that rotation we took in the neck. We're just gonna kind of bring that all the way down into the rest of the spine and take a little twist. So first, going to your left, we'll take right hand to the outside of your left thigh. Your left hand can grab onto the side of your chair or perhaps even around to the back of your chair, whatever feels best there. And we'll turn the torso. Again, just as we talked about in cervical spine rotation, the rest of your spine has a natural range of motion here. So we're trying to make flexibility in this rotation, but we don't want to force. There's a stopping point, and try to honor that. Get to your edge or your stopping point, hold and breathe. Try to relax into that edge rather than trying to push past it. Go ahead and come on back to center, take your time. And we'll go opposite direction. Left hand to the outside of the right thigh. Right hand again, side of the chair, back of the chair, whatever feels best. Sit up nice and tall here. Again, notice if you're kind of beginning to slouch or slump and make any adjustments needed. Keep crown of the head reaching towards the ceiling. Spine nice and long. Lots of space between the ears and the shoulders, between the chin and the chest. And that rotation comes just as far as your body wants it to. Hold and soften into that edge. Good, go ahead and come on back to center, beautiful job. Go ahead and take your hands to the tops of your thighs here. We're gonna pull the wrists in towards the hip creases, squeeze the shoulder blades together, press the chest forward. If it's comfortable on your neck here, the back of your neck, you're gonna lift the chin away from the chest. That's not required, so you can just keep the gaze straight ahead if that feels better. Good, and then when you're ready, bringing that spine into the opposite movement here. So hands come forward, belly button pulls back, and then chin drops down as the shoulders round. Now we'll take those two motions together, but at your own pace. No need to go fast here. Inhale, bring the wrists in towards the hip creases, squeeze the shoulder blades together, press the chest out, maybe lift the chin if it feels good. And then exhale, press those hands forward, pull the navel back towards the spine, drop the chin, round the upper back. Go ahead through that a few more times, your own pace. Extension of the spine here, and then flexion of the spine here. Maybe one or two more. Good, come on back to nice and neutral, shoulders over hips. Good. And we're gonna bring your left foot up off of the floor. So be sure you're sitting nice and solidly. You'll notice when you lift one foot off, you have a little more engagement in the core. So go ahead and kind of find that stable posture. Try to resist the urge to slouch or slump. If you need a little help, you can take your hands underneath your left thigh. Use that as support to keep your posture upright. And then we'll circle left ankle. Take your time and go in both directions here. Now we'll point the toes down towards the floor. Lift the toes up towards the ceiling. Point the toes down. Lift the toes up. One more time, point down. And lift up. Now we're gonna extend left leg forward. The heel rests on the floor. The toes point up towards the ceiling. The leg is extended so your knee is straight, but try not to lock that left knee or press it down towards the floor. Let there be just a little softness there. Right leg is right where it was before, so foot still under the knee. We're gonna maintain a nice tall posture and hinge forward. As you press the chest forward, you'll begin to feel a stretch in the back of your left leg, your extended leg. Just come to the point where you feel a gentle stretch. Pause, hold, breathe. Again, relax into that edge. Rather than fighting against it or trying to push past it, find it and then breathe. Soften there. What's physically happening is we are lengthening those muscle tissues in the back of the leg. Mentally, what we're doing is allowing ourselves to soften into a challenge, into an intense sensation, rather than turning away from it or pushing it or trying to barrel through it. We're just gonna sit here with that sensation, relax our face, relax our shoulders, and breathe deeply. Take one more breath, beautiful job. Go ahead and unhinge, bring shoulders over the hips. Step your left foot back in line with your right foot, super job. And we'll just do same thing opposite side. So right foot is gonna lift straight up. Again, engage the core to maintain your posture. Maybe you take your hands underneath your right thigh for support and begin to circle that ankle. Starting in one direction, and then when you feel ready, switching directions. And finally, pointing the toes down, lifting the toes up, pointing down, and lifting up. One more, point down, and lift up. Great job. Extend right leg. Heel rest on the floor, toes pointing up towards the ceiling. The leg is extended, but the knee is not locked. We'll hinge forward. Spine long, chest broad. Find that gentle stretch, that kind of, oh yeah, there it is. And hold and breathe. Let the muscles in the back of your right leg soften just a little at a time. Part of the job that we're doing here in holding is giving them time to gently unravel. It doesn't happen right away, but within 30 to 60 seconds, they really start to let go of some of that tension. If there's any stretch or position throughout this practice that you want to stay a little longer on, for example, you've got pretty tight hamstrings and this stretch right here feels amazing and you want to hold it for another 30 or 60 seconds, please feel free to do that. Just pause and we'll catch up. So you're welcome to move even more slowly than I'm moving if that's what's calling to you. Go ahead and unhinge, bring shoulders over hips. Carefully step that right foot back in line with your left foot, and we're gonna open up the feet wide now. So your feet are outside the width of your shoulders here, and the knees are directly over top of the ankles. The knees and the toes are pointing in the same direction, which is out away from the midline of the body. Right here, knees and toes were pointing forward, and now we've widened that stance, and the knees and toes are pointing out like a kind of like a V or a triangle type of position. Keep those knees moving away from the midline of the body. Take your hands to the insides of the thighs, palms facing in, and hinge forward. This might not take a lot here. You might not even need to hinge to feel the stretch on the inside of the thighs. So find what feels good to you and hold there. Relax the face, the shoulders, the elbows. Bring your attention back to your breath. Breathe deeply, slowly, intentionally. Take one more big breath here. Unhinge, bring shoulders back over hips, and then walk the feet together. Super job. All right, we're gonna come into one of my favorites. This is crescent lunge or crescent warrior, and we're going to do it supported by the seat of the chair. So we're gonna step first your right leg over to the side and scoot your bottom back so that your whole right thigh is resting on the seat of your chair. Your left foot's gonna step behind and the left toes tuck under. Your left knee ends up right about directly below your left hip here. You're gonna face the direction that your right knee is facing. Use your right hand to hold onto the back of your chair for support. Tuck your tailbone, draw your navel in, and sit up nice and tall, shoulders over hips. Can you soften into this intense stretch in the front of the left thigh? Can you relax your shoulders, unclench your jaw, and continue to breathe? Three more breaths. Two. And one. Step that left foot forward. Turn back to center. If you need a moment to maybe wiggle out the feet, stretch out that left ankle, the one where the toes were tucked under, that could be fairly intense on the heel, the ankle, the calf muscle there. Any movement you need here to transition is perfect. And then we'll find our way into that posture on the opposite side. So your left foot steps out to the left, your bottom slides back, so your left thigh is supported on the seat of the chair. Your right foot now steps behind you and the toes tuck under, that's very important. Your right knee lands pretty much right underneath your right hip. Your torso is going to turn towards the direction your left knee is facing. Then we'll tuck the tailbone. Again, support yourself with the back of the chair. Draw the navel in, sit up tall, shoulders over hips here. 5 big breaths here. Again, notice if you're clenching your jaw or furrowing your brow, if this is quite intense. Where can you soften into that intensity? Not trying to pull away from it or push through it, but just sitting right there with that sensation of intensity and breathing. Two more breaths. One more. Great job. Step your right foot forward. Turn your body back to center. Awesome job. Again, if you need a moment to circle out right ankle or shake out the right knee or any wiggles that need to come out is perfect right here before we come into standing. To come to standing, I would love to challenge you to do that without using your hands if that feels safe to you. So if you'd like, bring the feet underneath the knees, toes facing forward. Ground down into the feet, and that's gonna require a little shift forward. So you're letting your body know, I'm getting ready to stand, to come up off of this supported seated position. If you wanna try with no hands, maybe take opposite hand to opposite shoulder. Keep those elbows up and pull the shoulder blades back. So we're finding a broad chest here and a nice, long, tall spine. Weight is shifted into the feet. We're gonna ground down, press up, lift, 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 and release those hands. Great job. If you like, sometimes in my chair yoga classes, we will come in and out of that seated position 4, 8, 10 times. So if you want to pause and challenge yourself into a couple of those sit and stand exercises, it's a really, really great exercise for balance, coordination, and lower body strength and stability. So please feel free to take an extra moment to do that if you'd like. This is also a great time to grab a drink of water as we transition from our seated postures into our standing postures. So again, take what time you need here to get ready for our standing postures, and I'll meet you back when you're ready. I'm going to move my chair so that you can see me a little bit better and see where my feet are going and what my hands are doing with the chair for support. When you're ready to begin standing postures, we'll start with probably the simplest and maybe the most important one of all. This is mountain pose or Tadasana. We're going to stack the shoulders over the hips and the ears over the shoulders. Feet are facing forward, knees are facing the same direction as the toes. The pelvic floor is engaged for stability, for this sense of kind of core strength and power. This makes you feel not only physically stable, but also quite confident and strong here in this standing posture. Hands can be down by your sides. Some people like to turn their palms open, a little external rotation in the upper arms. If that feels comfortable to you, you're welcome to do that. And whichever hand position you choose, pull the shoulder blades back towards one another just ever so slightly. So it doesn't have to be a huge kind of chest expansion forward, but just a little kind of pulling of the shoulders back. This is a nice counter for our usual, typical, a little bit of slouch forward as we read or drive or work on the computer or look on our phone. So a little pull back, take a big deep breath in and let it go. This time breathe in, reach the arms overhead. And as you let it go, bring them back down. We'll do that 2 more times. Inhale, exhale, inhale, and exhale. Great job. Alrighty, we're going to step your right foot behind your left foot. We're going to step your left foot right in between the feet of your chair, right foot behind, and turn the right toes out at a 45-degree angle. Your hips and shoulders are still facing your chair, and both feet are solidly planted on the floor. Now use your chair as much as you'd like here for a little bit of stability, of safety. And if you feel fairly confident and you don't need the chair, you're welcome to take the hands to the hips. You decide whatever feels good here. This is called split stance, where we have one foot in front of the other, which takes our base of support and makes it a little less stable. So re-engage at the pelvic floor, pull the belly button towards the spine. Really press down through the bottoms of both feet here, and then lift crown of the head towards the ceiling, keep the shoulders down and back. We'll take a couple of hinge exercises here. So inhale, nice and tall. Exhale, hinge at the hips. The spine stays long, the back stays flat. Inhale, come back up. And exhale, hinge. If you feel when you hinge a little stretch in the back of your front leg, that is awesome. That's what we're going for. Lengthening the hamstring and the calf of the leg that's in front, which right now I think is your left leg. Come on up one more time. And lower down. And we'll hold in this position, which is called pyramid. Option 1, leave your hands on your hips. You can take your hands to your chair if you like. You can slide your hands under if you've got a space like I do right here. If you don't, no worries. You can slide your hands down if that feels good. You can also take your hands, rest them on the thigh of your front leg. Lots of different fun places to put your hands. Hips are pressing back. Crown of the head is reaching forward. Your spine is nice and long, so try not to round your back here as best you can. Take one more breath, please. And then lift up. Super job. Now we're going to walk your left foot a little forward. Turn your right foot to face forward. So you might need a little more space. Just adjust as needed to give yourself enough room to come into that crescent warrior, crescent lunge, this time without the chair supporting your front thigh. You can totally do this. So we're gonna drop, remember the back knee dropped below the hip, the front knee was right over top of the ankle. This is where the chair was when we were seated. And then we're gonna lift up. Come down and lift up. Maybe your hands are on your chair for support. Come down, lift up, and do that one more time, please. Come on down and lift up. Great, great job. Go ahead and turn your back foot, this is your right foot, 90 degrees from your chair or from your left foot. Now we're gonna turn your hips open. Again, adjust as needed. You might need a little more space in between your feet to make this work. Your left heel and the arch of your right foot or your right shoe should line up with a straight line. So check down and see, do you need to adjust your feet front and back at all? So left heel lines up with the arch of your right foot. We're gonna bend into that left knee. Look out. So if your chair's right here, you're looking 90 degrees away from your chair. Your hips have opened up. We were facing the chair just a moment ago. Now we're looking 90 degrees away from the chair. Hands can be on the hips. Your left hand can be on the chair for support if that feels good. And we're gonna come in and out of this lunge. So lift out, lift in. Notice your back knee doesn't bend here. Straight. Your front knee bends, it's the only one that's bending. Good. Good, let's do that one more time. We're gonna hold here. If you feel stable, maybe you take your arms up to shoulder height. This is warrior 2. You're welcome to leave your left hand on your chair or both hands on your hips. Whatever feels good to you is great. Take a breath. Let it go. Go ahead and straighten up out of that left knee. Now we're gonna reach left fingertips over top of the back of your chair. So reach left fingertips forward and then pull back. So both knees are straight here, but hips and shoulders are still facing out away from your chair. Reach and pull back. Reach left hand forward and pull back. We're gonna do that one more time. Reach, 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 reach as far as you can and pull back. Great job. Alrighty, go ahead and now we're gonna turn your left foot to face the same direction that your right foot is facing. And then we're gonna turn them both out a tiny bit. This should feel familiar. We did this from seated in the warm-up. So knees and toes are pointing out away from the midline of the body, away from one another. Left hand can reach your chair just for safety here if that feels necessary. You don't have to use the chair at all. You're welcome to take the hands to the hips. Go ahead and find a squat here. Remember, knees moving out away from each other each time we bend them. Coming up. Knees moving out, hips going back. Come on up. We're gonna do 2 more of those. Knees moving out, hips going back. Move slowly here. Be careful. Be gentle with yourself. Good. One more time.
Good. Alrighty. Now, if you feel comfortable with your left hand off of the chair, we'll add some arms here. If you don't, then just don't add the arms. That is a perfectly great option. Just keep that left hand on the chair for safety and stability. If you're gonna add the arms, let's take them up overhead, turn the palms open, pull the shoulders down and back. Inhale here, exhale, pull down. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, pull down. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, pull down. Great job, come on up. This time just circle those hands around. Good. Alrighty. We're gonna heel toe feet in towards one another. Good job. We're gonna switch sides here. So I'm gonna move my chair to the other side so you can still see what I'm doing. Otherwise I'd be facing that way and you would just see my back. But you can simply just switch sides. You don't have to move your chair unless you want to. Just find those same exercises with the right leg starting in front this time. So right foot is going to come pretty much right underneath your chair, facing the direction that your chair is facing. Left foot's gonna step back into split stance. Left toes turn out about 45 degrees from the right toes, and the hips and shoulders are facing forward. Ground down through the bottoms of the feet. Engage the pelvic floor. That feels like a lifting from the base of the pelvis up towards the belly button. Then pull the belly button back towards the spine so you're not kind of like sagging here in the pelvis or sticking your butt out. We're kind of tucking that butt in a little bit to find stability and balance here in this split stance position where, again, we've created this wobbly base of support because we've moved the feet away from one another. Hands on the hips or hands on your chair. Maybe if you want a little challenge here, you take the arms up overhead. This is a really great balance exercise. You can always just take one arm up overhead if you prefer, keeping your left hand on the chair for stability. Take a couple breaths here. Good, feel that strength of the core and the hips and the legs. And then either with hands on the hips or hands on the top of the chair, we're gonna take a couple hinge and flow movements. Inhale here, exhale to hinge forward. Inhale to lift up. Exhale to hinge forward. 2 more. Good. On your last one, hold that hinge. Feel that stretch in the back of your front leg, which now is your right leg. Maybe you rest your hands on the top of the chair or down the sides of the chair or on the right thigh. Unhinge, bring shoulders over hips. Relax, good. Now we're gonna turn this left foot so that the left toes face the same direction as the right toes. And we'll just find a few of those kind of dip, crescent lunge, flows, whatever you like to call these things. So we're beginning here in our split stance with the back heel lifted. The toes are tucked and the heel is lifted, just like it was when we were seated. Remember that sensation of tucking the toes under. And then we'll drop both knees and lift them up. So both knees bend here into a deep lunge and then lift. Using the chair for balance, or maybe you take your hands to your hips for a little challenge. Again, you can always just have one hand on the chair, kind of like a safety net just in case. Good, one more of these, guys. Great job. Go ahead and ground the left foot down. We're gonna turn the left foot 90 degrees now from the right foot. Or if you like to think of it this way, 90 degrees from where the chair is facing. Your right toes are still facing underneath the chair. We're gonna bend right knee, but not bend the left knee. You might need to adjust your feet. Feel free to do that. Please find a solid, safe base of support here. Remember, one of the keys for alignment of Warrior Two is your right heel lines up with the arch of your left foot. So please feel free to glance down and make any adjustments you need. That's why we're moving slow, so we have time to find safety and stability here. As you bend into your right knee, you should still be able to see your right big toe. So notice if your knee caves in, can you guide it out towards the pinky toe side of your foot? Right hand can be on your chair or on your hip as we find a couple flows here. So the pelvis has opened up naturally when you turned your left foot out 90 degrees. That left hip naturally opened up. So we've got shoulders and hips facing now away from the chair, not straight at the chair like it was a moment ago. Good. I wasn't really counting, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. So let's hold here on this Warrior Two. Good. Maybe you take the arms out of the height of the shoulders if that feels safe to you. Maybe you just take the one arm, your back arm out, and leave your right hand on the chair. Keep the navel drawing to the spine and the pelvic floor lifting. Good, straighten up, great job. Whew. And then we're gonna bring both arms out to shoulder height if you can. Reach right hand forward and then pull it back. Reach right hand forward, pull it back. Reach it forward. Good, pull it back one more time. Reach as far as you can. Awesome, and come on back. Super job. Take the hands to the hips. Turn your left toes to face the same direction that your right toes are facing, and then we'll just turn the heels in from the toes. Good. This time we're gonna come down into horse stance, which is kind of like goddess squat, but we just add a little shoulder movement. So we're gonna take the tops of the hands to, the palms of the hands to the tops of the thighs and squat down. Kind of like use those hands to support you a little bit. Yeah. Again, knees and toes are pointing away from the midline of the body, and we'll dip right shoulder in, come on back, and left shoulder in, come on back. Good. And left shoulder. 2 more on each side. You got it, guys. 2, 2, and 1 more. 1, and 1. Great job. Coming up nice and tall. Before we move from here, we're gonna take arms out wide to 5-pointed star. Reaching your fingertips in opposite directions, pulling the shoulders away from the ears and shoulder blades towards each other. Good. Crown of the head reaches towards the ceiling. Remember, the crown of the head is the 5th point of the 5-pointed star. So each foot, 1, 2, each hand, 3, 4, and then crown of the head reaching up. That's number 5. Take a deep breath in, deep breath out. 1 more just like that. Relax your hands down. Carefully heel toe feet together. Use your chair as much as you need to for support. Excellent job. We're gonna make our way back into the chair. Another perfect opportunity to grab a drink of water if you need one. We are going to wind down here. So cooling down we're gonna stay at the front of the chair just for a moment, and then we'll sit back and relax. If you would, please stretch both of the legs forward, just like we did in the beginning, one at a time. We're just gonna take that stretch one more time, both legs at the same time. So stretch the legs out, heels rest on the floor and toes point up towards the ceiling, and we'll hinge for 3 breaths. Pull the toes in towards your body, getting into the calf muscles. One more breath here. Good, bring shoulders back over hips, super job. Step the feet in. Take your left knee, we're gonna let that knee fall out to the left, turning onto the pinky toe side of your left shoe. If this feels good, you can take it a little further by stacking your left shoe on top of your right shoe. Or if you need even more, you can take your left foot all the way up to your right thigh. Just do what feels good here. Remember, our job is not to force, but just to soften. We're taking 5 full breaths here, relaxing the shoulders and the face. Maybe even thinking about relaxing the toes and the bottoms of the feet. Letting the hips settle into the chair. After your 5 breaths on this side, carefully take that left foot, bring it back to the floor. We'll take same thing opposite side. So right knee goes out to the right. You can stack your right foot on top of your left foot if that feels good. Or bring right foot up to left thigh if that feels good. Doesn't have to be the same option you chose for the left hip. Five full breaths here. After your 5 breaths, take your time. Carefully remove that right foot, bring it back to the floor. We'll take one final little shoulder stretch. We're gonna hinge forward at the hips, reach the fingertips back behind you. If it's available and comfortable for you, you can grab on to your chair, but you don't have to, just do what feels good there. Pulling shoulders down and back, reaching back with the fingertips as you press the chest forward. One more big breath. Good. As you unhinge and release your hands, bring the arms overhead. Circle the hands around. And let's do that one more time. Bring the arms overhead. Big deep breath in. Circle around. Big deep breath out. Bring the hands in front of the hard palms, facing in towards one another here. Maybe you close the eyes here for a moment. Relax. As you become aware of the sensations in the body, the heartbeat, the pattern of the breath, the temperature of the body, the sensations maybe in the muscles and the joints. Can you find some
gratitude for your body and all of its amazing capabilities. That ability to move, that ability to adapt, that ability to be still and strong and solid and stable, and the ability to soften when it's called for. Your body is amazing. It's beyond understanding. It's a beautifully made tool and vessel. And you're fortunate to get to live within it. When you're ready, relax your hands. Take that sensation of gratitude